Okay, so now you understand the structure, you understand the foreign keys, the primary keys, and now I think it's time for us to actually start inserting some data into these tables. Now I'm not going to type out all of his statements, it's quite a lot of words over here, so I'm just going to copy and paste from my script, which you can download from the link in the description. And I'm first going to insert records into my directors table. Now, why am I inserting to the directors table first? Because remember there was a link between directors and movies. So if I was to create a movie first, because of that primary key foreign key relationship I showed you earlier on, if I was to create a movie with director ID 1, but I have no directors in the director table, it's going to fail. So let me just show you this here. I'm going to insert, and it's basically saying that there is no primary key matching this ID over here. So you have to do the primary key tables first, and then you can do the foreign key tables afterwards. Okay. So I'm inserting directors over here. Next, I'm going to insert my main characters. And then we insert our movies, and the movies you can see have the director ID at the end. And the next thing we do is insert our movie characters, and you can see movie characters in a combination of the movie ID and the character ID. So you can see there's 1 1, 1 2, 1 3, 2 4, 2 5, for example. Okay, so these are all different movies with their respective characters in them. Okay, cool. So now we have movies, we have our characters. Now it's actually time for us to actually start figuring out how to actually look at the data in these tables. Okay, so we're going to do our first select statement. So we can select everything from movies. The star sign means everything, and that just means return all the rows in this table. So sometimes a table might have 10 rows, and you just want to return everything, just put the star there. If you only want to return the name, then just type name, or in this instance, if you only want the title, just type in title. And we can now see that our movies have been inserted into our table. If we go down to movie characters, we can see that we have our movie characters over here. It's just keys which link to other tables, so that probably doesn't make any sense. But if we go down to our main characters and we do our select, we can actually see the main characters are there. And then the same thing with directors, we can see the directors over there. Like I mentioned earlier on, when we do our selects, the results will show in this bottom window here, which is our result window. It will actually show you your row counts over here as well as down here. Okay, so now we are selecting, so that's easy enough, but now there's no particular order. So we actually want to change that. So let's say order by title. And what order by titles means, it's going to sort it alphabetically. So you can see it's going down alphabetically. If I wanted to reverse the ordering, I could just put descending or DCS. And you can see that the order has now flipped. And it's still ordering by title, but obviously just in descending order. Okay, so that's pretty cool. It's pretty easy to do. But maybe we only want to look for a particular director. So we can see there's all these different directors, and I only want director ID 9. So what I'll do is put in a where statement, and you can see it now has where director ID equals 9. So when I run that, you can see it only returns the movies where director ID equals 9. And maybe I want to change this and say, no, actually I only want the movies where the title has Galaxy in the name. So I can take that out, and instead of having an equal to, I'll put like. Like is what you use for pattern matching. So I'm going to look for everything that has the word Galaxy in. You can see I've put these percentage marks over there. So that means Galaxy can be anywhere within the string. If you only wanted to find the text which starts with Galaxy, you would take that out. Or if you only want text which has Galaxy at the end, you could do something like that. But I'm just looking for the word Galaxy anyway, and so that's what we do. So for example, I could say where movie ID equals 1. But if I want multiple movies, I'll put in, and in allows you to add a list of various IDs or strings, for example. So we are doing our selects, and we can actually see that while we can see director ID, it doesn't actually show you what the director name is. And that's because the director name itself sits in the director table. So what we have to do is join our movies table to our directors table. So I'm going to type inner join here, directors D And this D over here is just an alias, like I put an M next to movies. Just means I don't have to type out the whole word directors all the time. I can just type in D like I did there. And then I'm saying on, and this will be actually join the columns together. So I'm going to say m.directorID equals d.directorID. So it's basically matching director IDs between the two tables. So when it's director ID 1 in the movies table, it will match to director ID 1 on the directors table. If I run that, we can now see we have all of our movies, but it actually has a director name in it as well, because now we've done a join. The inner join will return all of the matching rows. So if I look at this particular diagram that I'm drawing over here, we have our movies table, and then we have our directors table, and this inner section over here is our inner join. See how that works? So the inner join will only return this particular section over here. Maybe I wanted to return all the movies, whether they have a matching director column or not. I would then change this into a left join. What does a left join mean? It means always return something from the left. The left being in this picture, the movies one, so it will return this. The opposite of that would be a right join, which means it returns everything on the right. And you can see it's in that there. We have a full outer join, so instead of only returning left or right, it will return everything, including the matches and the non-matches. So now what we want to do is return all the movies and their respective characters. Now remember the earlier scenario, we had a many-to-many relationship. We resolved that by putting a table in between. So what you have to do now is join our movies table to the movie characters, and then from there to the main characters table. Okay, so we can see we are joining movies, M. We join onto movie characters, which I'm calling MC, and we're joining it on that movie ID column. Next, we're going to join the main characters, which I'm calling MCH, onto MC, which is this main characters over there. And I'm matching on the character ID and character ID. Easy peasy, run that, and you can now see you have all the movies, and you have the character names as well coming back. So that's how we can start joining multiple tables over here. As you can see in this example, I only put the word join. When you just put join, it by default will use a inner join, and what that means, it only returns those matching rows in the middle. Okay, so this is not a left or right, it's only going to return matching rows. If I want to return all the movies even though they weren't matching values, we can just change this and make it a left join, and you can see we get all the movies back. Now I notice a bit of an issue in this data set. It actually shows that Thor was in the first Iron Man movie. So we need to get rid of this. We don't want this showing because it's highly incorrect. So let's change that. So what we are going to do is we are going to delete the record. So we're going to delete from movie characters, where movie ID equals 1 and the character ID equals 7. We're not going to delete the whole character because Thor does exist in other movies. So we just want to delete the connection between Thor and that first Iron Man movie. So we delete that. And then when we run this query again, it will then show no instance of that. So now we can see that Thor was not in the first Iron Man movie because he wasn't, and everything looks good. Okay, cool. So now we've done our selects, we've done some deletes as well, we've done inserts on top. So we can see that this particular movie, maybe the name isn't right. We can do right update. I'm going to set title equal to test, where title equals Iron Man. So now when we select from the movies table, we can see we have a movie called test, which doesn't make any sense because there's no such movie. So we're going to change that back, run that, and now we select and we can see the movie is now back to Iron Man. But for now, we're just going to jump into the next portion.